series this morning. Turn to Luke chapter 17. Luke is Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And so Luke is the third book of the Bible in the New Testament. So if you turn to the New Testament, your Bible is divided into two sections. An Old Testament, which takes up a large majority of the Bible. But then the New Testament is in the back part of the Bible. It's Matthew, Mark, and Luke. And we're going to turn to chapter 17. Chapter 17. And I'm starting a new series called Satan's Bait. Hashtag no to the bait. Okay? And so with that, we're starting a new series this morning. And in getting into this series, I believe that this is a good series to begin right now because our culture is pushing our society to be in a constant state of being offended. That everybody is offended by something. And our news is always filled with what group of people today are being offended. It amazes me when people are offended by things that they have no relationship or no direction at all with, and yet they're offended by something. I'm offended that they said this. I'm offended that they went there. I saw that person meeting with them on the news, and now I'm offended. And so we're always in a constant state of offense. I shared this last week about Facebook. Facebook is now coming out with a dislike button. So if you're on Facebook and you've never been offended, hold on to your horses because you're probably going to be offended real soon when you put a picture of that baby or that grandbaby on there and someone pushes dislike on it. All right? And so see, somebody's just... and the thing is, they probably like the picture of the baby. They don't like the picture of the food in the background or something, And it's just the way that things happen that way. And then this week, there's a new app that is coming out called People, P-E-E-P-L-E. Google it. It's a new app that individuals can rate people like individuals rate restaurants, like Yelp for people. So if you think you are 5-star, give a few moments, give it a couple of months, because when people know who you are, you're probably going to be a 1-star. Because everybody's offended by something. And it probably be something out there and I don't know where. But look, I just came in this morning and people were telling me about this shootout at Walmart. I can just see, I'm not a prophet nor a son of a prophet, but I can probably see a lot of shootouts happen place because somebody went on People and gave me a 1-star. Because we're on the edge of constantly being offended. And if you don't watch yourself, and you don't guard yourself, and you don't disassociate yourself from the things that are going on, that are constantly coming through our social media, our news sources, our cable channels, our news, local news, public news, you are going to find yourself being offended by something or someone or some organization. And we have to realize that in Luke chapter 17, verse 1, Jesus said that it is impossible for us not to be offended. It is impossible for us to not be offended. That's the first one right there. It is impossible that no offenses, Luke chapter 17, verse 1, should come. Yet when we do get offended, we are taken aback. When we are offended, we're unable to function. When someone has wronged us, sometimes that handicaps us or hinders us from fulfilling our potential. It could be a spouse, it could be a child, it could be a parent, it could be a best friend, it could be a fellow believer who has hurt you. Someone who you loved, served. Maybe someone who you've helped physically or financially. You learned that at Living Waters that you ought to be bold in your generosity. So you helped them when they needed their car to be fixed. You helped them when they needed a meal. You helped them to get clothes for them and their children. You helped them get school supplies for their kids when they started school. And now they don't like you for no reason. Or now they don't like you and you really do know the reason. And you are hurt. You're bitter. You're angry. They offended you. They have deserted you. Your dating relationship for those who are single is a mess. Because you cannot go into your next relationship because you're hanging on to your past relationship. And you want the new guy or you want the new girl to go into the future, but you have distrust for that person because what the other person did to you the last time. Or you're single, you've been married, but divorced. And you have not gotten over the divorce. Or can I take it a step further? Your spouse may have passed or died. And you cannot go forward because you're angry that your spouse left before you and left you in the situation that you're in. Or have you been let go of a job? A job that you worked overtime for. Loved the people that you worked with. Sacrificed your family Saturdays, Sundays, 7 days a week, 24 hours on call, and all of a sudden they let you go for something minor. And now you're upset. Now you're hurt. Now you're bitter. Now you're angry. You see, the thing is that only those that you care about can hurt you. Because after all, what happens is we expect more from them. Because why? Because you have given yourself to them. The higher the expectation, the greater the fall. Selfishness reigns in our society. I've never seen a population in my lifetime where everybody is so self-absorbed about themselves. So much so that in this generation that loyalty means nothing over the self. Just this past week, about 8 girls were sitting at a baseball game. And the sports announcers and the cameramen thought that it was a great comedy to look at them because great plays were taking place on the field, and all those girls were doing was looking at themselves, taking pictures of their hot dogs. The selfie generation, it's all about them. And what happens with this generation is bleed over into the adults. If it's bleed over into the senior adults, that whatever it's going to take to get me to where I'm going, I will run over anybody, betray anybody, hurt anybody that I need to get where I'm going. We have an epidemic in the church. That God said in His Word that I hate divorce. Yet we have ministers who are so self-centered that they are leaving their spouses because God told them to. May our God have mercy. Jesus made it clear in His Word for the generations to this generation, it is impossible to live in this world and not have the opportunity, notice I said opportunity, not have the opportunity to become offended. Yet what happens to us is that most believers are shocked, bewildered, amazed when it happens. The Greek word for that word offended comes from the Greek word scandalon. Scandalon. So where we come from our word scandal. And that word scandalon in the green right there, if you go back up to that previous thing, scandalon in the Greek says this. It refers to the part of the trap to which the bait is attached. Hence the word signifies laying a trap in someone's way. In the New Testament, it often describes an entrapment used by the enemy. And what we have to realize is that an offense is a tool of the devil to bring people into captivity. Offense is a tool of the devil to bring people into captivity. We must understand this, that we who are used by God, you and I, wherever we're at, wherever we go, are ambassadors for God. We are to walk like Him, talk like Him, love like Him, bless people like Him. That is our job. Yet the enemy has his own ambassadors and his own agents to offend people, to bring them into captivity. And most of the times they're being used unaware. Isn't it something? This is just my observation of being in ministry for so many years. Isn't it something that you can go to work tomorrow and a coworker have a bad day and do something that bothers you or ticks you off, and on Wednesday you'll have the lunch and crying over the situation. But in the church, if the same thing happened on a Sunday, you'll pack up your stuff and leave a church and never come back. It's the way of the enemy. It's the way of the enemy. Paul instructed young Timothy. He said this, "And a servant of the Lord must not quarrel, but be gentle to all, able to teach, patient, in humility, correcting those who are in opposition. If God perhaps will grant them repentance, so that they may know the truth, and that they may come to their senses and escape the snare or entrapment of the devil, having been taken captive by him to do his will." Notice Paul told young Timothy, and a servant of the Lord must not quarrel, but be gentle to all, able to teach, patient, in humility correcting those. And Paul, through his writings, are instructing us today. We are servants of the Lord. It is not our job, and it's not part of our spirituality to quarrel, but to be gentle to all. We should be able to teach. We need to be patient in humility, correcting those who are in opposition. That is what God is telling us. Yet we live in a society where we are just like the world. We work like folks in the world. We shop like folks in the world. So the world tells off the cashier at Walmart because they didn't ring something up. We ought to tell people that tell them off too. The neighbor and her child has an issue with the same teacher your child is. And you heard about that teacher, so you think it's your responsibility to go in and tell that teacher off. God forbid. She don't get paid enough to deal with your bad children. And we become just like the world, yet God is saying, I want you to take a high road. And how you treat people. And how you act towards people. Because people should be able to know your walk and your talk, and it should represent me. Yet when you do that, it doesn't represent me. It represents the ugly side of the enemy, the ugly side of your nature. And I want you to represent me. I mean, next week, we should get them by next week. We got brand new I Love My Church t-shirts and stickers that you can put on anywhere you want, to your computer, your car. But do not wear that t-shirt outside your house or this church if you've got a nasty attitude. And if people look at that church and say, I don't want to go to telling that teacher off in school. But no matter what the scenario is, we can divide all offended people into two major categories. Number one, those who have been treated unjustly, and those who believe they have been treated unjustly. Those who've been treated unjustly, and those who have been treated unjustly. One way the enemy keeps a person in an offended state is to keep the offense hidden with pride. Pride will keep you from admitting your true condition. Yet many of you are sitting here today, having been treated unjustly, or believe that you have been treated unjustly. See, pride will keep you from dealing with the truth. In the South, we have a bad way that everything is okay. When everything is not okay, it distorts our vision. You never change when you think everything is fine. Pride hardens your heart. It dims your eyes of your understanding. It keeps you from the change of heart or repentance that will set you free. See, pride causes you to view yourself as a victim, not a victor. Your attitude becomes, I was mistreated and misjudged, therefore I am justified by my behavior. But because you believe you are innocent and falsely accused, you hold back forgiveness. Lately I've been spending a lot of time in Revelation chapter 3. I think it's imperative to spend some time in the churches of Revelation chapter 3 and 2, the 7 churches that Jesus talked about for such a time as we are in today. Thinking about doing a series maybe in November or December, or just thinking about it, I don't know if I'm going to do this, called What in Hell is Going On? It'll be really encouraging to be here those weeks. Whew. But holding a mirror to our society and holding a mirror to our world and what's going on, where does the church fit into what's going on right now? But Jesus had a special relationship with a church called the Laodicean church. You can find it in Revelation chapter 3, the last book of the Bible. Jesus addressed the church of Laodicea and first telling them how they saw themselves as rich, wealthy, and having need of nothing. Rich, wealthy, and having need of nothing. But then by exposing their true condition was this: wretchedness, miserable, poor, blind, and naked. They had mistaken their financial strength for their spiritual strength. And pride had hidden their true condition. And many are this way today. What's wrong? Well, everything is good. What could be bad? I'm driving my Cadillac out there. I got degrees on the wall. I got a corner office with a window looking out over the downtown Atlanta. What could be bad? Yet inside, you're hurting, you're miserable, you're angry, you are bitter. And Jesus said to this church in Revelation 3:18, buy from me gold refined in the fire. Buy from me gold refined from the fire. The first instruction for breaking free from the deception was to buy from me gold refined in fire. Refined gold is soft and pliable. I'm going to use this cloth for just a representation, but gold in its clearest state is actually clear. You can actually see through it. It's probably a little bit firmer than this, but it's very pliable. Able to bend and able to see through it. When gold is boiled down or heated up down, excuse me, not boiled, but heated up to its original state, without impurities, without the influx of other metals and other elements that are in there, it is pliable and you're able to see through it. And Jesus is saying, buy from me gold refined in the fire. And what he is telling us is buy from me the ability that people can see through you. David was talking one time about a contrite heart. If you look up that contrite in original Hebrew, it means pliable. Almost like I would look at this, it's just my personal illustration, that our heart can be so pliable that God can move it in any direction, mold it however He would like to see. God, I want to go into the ministry. No, I want you to be a doctor because I've got people I need to heal through you. God, I just want to go into business. No, I need you to go into teaching because there's students that I need you to touch. And a pliable heart says, yes, God, I will do whatever you have me to do. And that heart is leaned in the right direction. Yet a heart is able to see. But gold, and I wish this was real. It says fine gold, 999.9. And it says net weight, no, seriously, net weight, 100,000 grams. And I wish it were gold. Because, baby, we could buy a good house with this. But this thing, and gentlemen, you probably don't even recognize this, but if you've ever used the bathroom, it sits as a doorstop in the bathroom. Yet if this was real gold, it really wouldn't be 999.9% fine gold, because if it was that good, you could see through it. But in order to make gold like gold bars, they have to put in elements, minerals, earth minerals in order to get it like your rings so that we can wear it. Because if you wore gold on your ring, and pure gold, diamonds could stick to it, maybe, but also it wouldn't be able to form. It'd be pliable. So they put metals in it in order to get that mixture. And what to do is, in order to get this gold, and if you get this right here, you say, well, this is gold. No, it's not gold. It's gold plus this and this and this and this that make it like this. And when someone wants to get to the gold, what they do is they put it in intense fire. And what happens is the gold drops down to the bottom, so at the top all the impurities will come up to the top, and then a person who works with gold will skim off the stuff at the top. And what is in that left over is pure gold. Not gold like this, but gold like this that you can actually see through, that you can actually look through, that is actually really, truly pure gold. Jesus said, God said in the book of Isaiah, it said, behold, I have refined you. We can put that up there. Behold, I have refined you. Not as silver, I have tested you in the furnace of affliction. And that person who hurt you, that person who, and leave that up there for a second, many are writing notes, that person who hurt you, the person who condemned you, the person who talked about you, the person who put you down, the mommy or the daddy that abandoned you, the brother and sister that won't pick up the phone now, the wife or the husband that left you, the boyfriend, the girlfriend that abused you. You thought that it was the enemy, but could it be that God put you in the furnace of affliction to get all of the nasty stuff up, to get all the impurities up, to get it all, because I want to get you to the place that people can see through you, so that when they see through you, all they see is me. All they see is me. I'm tired of the church. I'm tired of saints. I'm tired of us training our kids. Then it's all the devil's fault. Stop blaming the devil. Sometimes God is right in the midst of it. We forget that he's the pot on the potter's wheel, and all we are is just going round and around while we're in his hands as he's squeezing and molding us and making us to what he has for us to be. Peter said this in 1 Peter, "In this you greatly rejoice, though now for a little while, if need be, you have been grieved by various trials." Various trials. You have been grieved that the genuineness of your faith, being much more precious than gold that perishes, though it is tested by fire, may be found to praise and honor and glory at the revelation of Jesus Christ. And this morning you're getting a revelation that you are more than gold. You're getting a revelation that you mean more to God than gold that perishes. You are finding a revelation that where you are at right now, today, has been meant for your glory and for your good. I am glad whenever they say today, this confidence that I have is that his goodness is for me. And whatever you've been through and whatever you've been facing, whatever trial you've been going through, you must understand that God is right in the middle of this thing to show up and show out in your life, so that when all is said and done and the potter is through pressing and the furnace is cut off and you're cooling up, that everything that's in you has come out of you, so that everything that is in you represents the kingdom of God, and then you become a masterpiece that he has put together. I know it hurts. I know what it's like to be betrayed. I know what it's like for folks to turn on you. I know what it's like to clothe and feed and be there in the hard times and the good times for backs to be turned on. I'm telling you, if you will give it to God, I am telling you that if you will let go and surrender yourself, that God, it hurts. The furnace is 1,000 times hotter, and I'm in pain, and I'm burning, and I'm tired. But if you can see that the impurities are being drawn out of you. And I'm telling you, beloved, when you're in the furnace, there are things, I can testify to you right now, there are things that will come out of you that you thought were not there since before you got saved. And all of a sudden that anger rises up when there wasn't anger before. And that bitterness will rise up where it wasn't there before. And that attitude will be rising up where it wasn't there before. And all of a sudden you realize that it's not the enemy that's called you to do this. It's that furnace that is allowing you to see the ungodliness that is in you. And that God has got you in the furnace of affliction to bring that up out of you. And to rid that up out of you. It's not sin. Sin is a different thing. It's the impurities of things that don't represent him in your character, that he puts you in the furnace of infirmity to rise those characteristics that don't represent him. Because what the ultimate goal is this, that I need somebody who can talk and walk like me, that people can see right on through them. It hurts. It's hot. It doesn't feel good. It's painful. I can't sleep at night. I can't eat a meal without thinking about them and what they've done. I can't even get in a new relationship without, are they going to leave me again? Are they going to abuse me again? Are they going to befriend me again? The altars are open. The altars are open. It hurts. I'm tired. I can't go on because I'm stuck right here. And where you're at is what you've done is say, God, I don't need you. I am going to worry about tomorrow. I'm going to take care of my dating life. I'm going to take care of me. And that's pride that comes out. Where you been at, God? Even my own faith in you was tested. Where you been at, God? Because I prayed that my marriage would work. I dated with godly principles, yet I got abused. Broke. Busted and disgusted. And God is right there. Said, if you let me take care of this, I will take care of you. And you're going to see in the next couple of weeks that this is for your glory and your goodness. That God has you right here where He wants you. And that God arranged those things in your life to take place because some of those folks couldn't go where you're going. Beloved, I'm telling you, when we get on the other side of this series, you're going to be thanking God. You're going to lift your hands and thank God that, God, I thank you. I thank you for those relationships that I don't have today.